Alrighty, we are back with your favorite podcast show of the week. This is Location Weekly, and it's episode number 461. And we're recording live on April the 21st. Brianna, how are you?
Hanging in there. Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I've been heads down for like 5 days working on a government proposal on with the new company on trying to use our stuff for COVID, and we'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed that comes through. But otherwise, we're good. We're all settled in on the work from home, and kids are fully into school, and just learning and all of that. So it's yeah, kind of the new reality is becoming everyday reality. So
Yeah, I feel like we're getting settled in, but just when I think that we're in a routine, then we have days like today where I'm trying to record a podcast and I've got a 2-year-old breaking down my door every 3 seconds. So
there you go.
keeps
Yeah.
us on our toes.
So, anyhow, hopefully it looks like we're starting to make some progress on this virus, and maybe in another month or so or two, we'll get a little bit closer to normal. So let's not move too fast, though. Anyhow, we've got a good show for you this week. We've got two industry news stories to cover off, and two guest interviews from our members at Home series that we will be featured in as well. So I'll let Aubriana start it off as per usual with our first story.
All right, thanks. Well, I'm kicking it off this week with a story from Pinterest. And, I think we've been long awaiting the times that Pinterest would, flourish to what it really is supposed to be and monetize a lot of the awesome features that they have, or, at least all of the Pinterest users that they have. And I think they're getting closer to that now, and they have added new shop tabs. So there's been some shoppable pins, over the last year or two. And now what they've done is made it where users can actually browse like in-stock inventory from newly added shop tabs, and they can search on Pinterest boards. So they've improved their visual search with this as another component to this, which is nice. I really like the visual search. Like if I'm looking for something specific and I can't find it, I can always just like hover over a picture that I have or something, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But for the example that they gave is like you could say search spring outfits or home decor or kitchen remodel, and find those shoppable pins where like before only some of those pins were shoppable, but now everything that they return is shoppable when you are within that tab. So it also leverages their product pin technology, and basically it just links a pin directly to the checkout page on the e-commerce site. So that is making it a little bit more frictionless and obviously encouraging purchase at the end of the day, which is really important to these advertisers who are paying to place their pins on there or doing the work to put that on there. So something that they were saying is like, this is kind of harder right now for SMBs because there's a lot of work involved in it. And so you've seen a lot of like the bigger enterprise, retailers take advantage of this, like the, I don't know, Walmarts and Targets and I don't know, maybe Bed Bath & Beyond or something like that. But it's a little harder for the retailers because they have to upload their product feeds through the Pinterest catalogs, and then they have to like organize them into smaller groups. And then if they want to add, launch the advertising for it, they have to do that as well. So with the COVID crisis, what they've been doing, what Pinterest has been doing is, trying to make some simple like how-to videos for small business owners, like learn more about their current needs, do some webinars and show them like how they can list their products for sale and help out those small businesses that are really suffering right now. They've seen 2.5 times increase in shoppable pins since last year, which is, phenomenal growth, obviously. Some of that is contextual though. So for example, they've seen a 70% rise in home office searches, over the past few weeks, which makes sense because everybody's working from home. Right. So yeah, I think this is a great feature. I mean, I really do enjoy Pinterest. There's some times where I'm like, I want to use this more, and there's certain things that I want to find more on, and how can it be easier to use. Like one thing that drives me crazy is whenever I'm in the Pinterest app and then I just like go to another app, I don't exit the app, but I just, go to look at something else, and then I come back, it refreshes the page on Pinterest and it doesn't keep open where I was. And that drives me insane because I'm like, I just want to go back to where I was. I was trying to refer to something. And so, I think there's still things that they can do from a I don't know, from a user standpoint, user experience standpoint, and make things more, promote interaction a little bit better. But I think that the shoppable pins is like a huge step in the right direction for them, being able to monetize things and being able to really work more with the people who can pay to support the platform, which are businesses. So I like it.
Yeah, I like it as well. Like you've already said, I think, these guys have, in terms of users, in terms of engagement, have been growing by leaps and bounds year over year. I think, it's an obvious play for them to be able to convert, this sort of the visual galleries and people's interests and boards and products that they want or are interested in into, actually buy purchases and commerce. And for them as a company that's providing a platform to participate in that ecosystem and kind of take their cut, if you will, along the way. So I think this idea of shop tabs is really cool. We've talked a lot on the show and over the last year and a half or so in particular about sort of the growth in, or the shift, I should say, not so much growth, the shift in the way search is happening, right? From the way we understand traditional search engine to, things that are, either voice that we've talked about a lot, or in this case, visual search. And I think it really sort of crystallizes that trend that we've been watching for, quite a while. The other thing I really like about this is a lot of what they're trying to enable here is not just conversion, into a purchase transaction, but they're, the things that they're showing are actually things that are in stock. And, one of the failures in online commerce over the, sort of past years has been, people get excited about a product, that they see or they're interested in, only to find out and be disappointed that it's not available, it's out of stock or whatever. So they're showing things that are actually in stock, or if there's something that you're interested in, they can make a sort of recommendation of something that's close by that, or similar that's actually in stock. So I love that part of it as well. And so, I think that's all I really have to add to it. I think obviously during this time in COVID, people are definitely trying to figure out, new work environments, new home office looks. There's only so much you can do with the virtual Zoom backgrounds. Everybody really wants their background to in the real world to look really cool and nice. And so, that kind of, home improvement, home office stuff growing by 70% is not surprising to me at all. So very, very cool. So that's our first story for this week. We're going to jump right now to our special series, which we call Members at Home. And this week we have two guest interviews that we've done. I did one of them with Mark Michael, who's one of the founders of a company called DevHub, one of our great members out of Seattle area. And our second interview was conducted by Aubriana, a gentleman by the name of Warren Zena of Zena Consulting, formerly involved with companies like Location Sciences and others. So a great interview as well. And so I think we'll just let the interviews play and kind of go from there, and then we'll come back and recap. All right, we are continuing on with our special series, Members at Home. And today I'm super excited. We get to have a chat with Mark Michael. He's the co-founder and CEO of a great LBMA member company, DevHub. Mark, welcome to Location Weekly.
Hey, thanks to Steve. Always like seeing you.
Yeah, so what's going on? I mean, just as a quick reminder, who is DevHub? What do you guys do?
So DevHub is the leading platform used by big brands and or their agencies for building a lot of websites and or landing pages. So think 100 plus to 76,000 plus, whether that's location pages, sites, microsites, catalog pages, whatever, you're using us to build a lot of them, not one off. If you need one off, your nephew can build it for free.
Okay, cool. And you guys are in Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're from there, local boy, grew up there, ish, kind of.
Yeah.
All right. So the point of what we're trying to do right now is obviously we're in a whole new world right now with COVID-19 and everybody's in isolation, working from home. What's that experience been like for you? Like, you know, being in your home with your family, hanging out, trying to get work done. You know, how's that been?
I mean, if I was going to be totally honest, I would say like it's like a prison sentence. I've never been to prison, but it's honestly, it's not that bad. It's I mean, for me, it's a really crazy kind of like head fake because our office is across the street. Like literally, I can stare at my office right now, and the fact that I can't go there, and then like I don't know. It's just definitely taken like the first week I was like, so we're in week 4. So on March 11th, we told all of our employees, hey, or the week of March 11th, we told people it's optional whether you want to come to work or not, whatever you want to do. On the 11th, we basically made it mandatory that you don't come to work, aka thinking it was going to blow over. But then Tom Hanks got it. And then it was like, oh shit, maybe this is real. Then the next week was like, okay, we're just going to do it. We're just kind of playing it week by week. And then like, obviously now I'm in week 4 and obviously we have not been playing that week by week. And this is kind of our new reality for right now. And it's definitely been an adjustment for me. Like the first week was kind of like in my mind a vacation. And now we've settled into kind of a routine of like how we communicate. I mean, the company has been great, but like me personally, mentally, like settling into routine. Okay, now I'm going to work out. I'm going to turn on like disco music super loud and bust out at home workout. And that's why I'm dressed like this right now to remind myself to work out. You know, I drink coffee every morning. Thank you to my wife who's sitting not even 20 feet away from me right now. And then I take about 4 vitamins, B12, B1, E, C, and D. Yeah, thank you.
There you go. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about the employees. Like, what have you guys had to do to kind of stay in touch with your employees, have some sort of regular contact meetings? Are you using platforms like Zoom? You know, what are you doing in terms of managing the business?
So we've always had like basically any employee, if like they're before this, we would tell them like kind of whatever their schedule was. So we have like one employee that would like come in 3 days a week. We would have another one that was always gone every Wednesday. We have one that like starts every day at 10:30 in the morning, you know? So like everyone kind of had their little routine when we had our offices going. Since then, I mean, we've been relying heavily on Slack. Every day at 3 p.m. we have a team meeting. Again, that was something that we were already doing, but at the office, we just obviously brought it online. And we're still using Uber Conference. We're not using Zoom.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, lots of people are, you know, pulling back right now from Zoom for, you know, security issues and other things.
We just never did it. I never liked it because for me, I always like, it always had to be like the meeting organizer had to do it, but I guess that doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, so far Uber Conference has been okay for us.
Cool. And Slack too. I find a lot of people I'm talking to are big on that. We use it a lot in my companies. You know, just for regular ongoing communication. Long before this happened, it was a regular tool.
Oh yeah, same.
Talk to me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Go ahead.
I mean, so basically, as you know, the CEO co-founder, like I'm at least posting in our general chat more than I probably would have, you know, before, because I kind of have this philosophy of running everything pretty candid at our office. Like I never try to hide anything. I just like, oh, today's going to be the best day ever, or whatever the hell my mood is, you know, like
Mhm.
And so I've been kind of communicating more on Slack. And I know that one day last week, just for whatever reasons, I thought maybe I was kind of overdoing it for a second. Like I didn't post like good morning to our team. And it was like, you can definitely tell that the team kind of felt it. Like, what's wrong? Like what's wrong with Mark today? And it was nothing was wrong with me. I just seriously just didn't do it because I thought I was annoying people. Um, but it is important to keep in, I think, as a leader of your organization, it is very important to keep in regular communication with your employees, no matter what. Even like a simple good morning is just, if that's what you were already doing, because that's what we would do every time I walk in the morning. This is the best company to work for, like just shit like that.
Yeah.
And they still need to know that, you're a human, or
Yeah.
the same
And you
human
care.
before all.
Okay. So here's something I'm super interested in. You're the first guy we've done one of these with, based in Seattle. Seattle in the U.S. is kind of like, was the hotbed initial sort of place where a lot of this happened. What's it been like in living and kind of being part of that environment, the Seattle aspect of it?
I mean, I was just late to the party, like I said, like that March 11th, 12th, I was like at the restaurant that you've been to before, like I was like, but then like employees, because they shut down all the restaurants on our blocks, and bars. Actually, a couple days before the actual, stay-at-home order, those bars, restaurants were closing. Besides, my uncle's place, and all those people from those restaurants were coming in, like crying and like. I was like, oh, we just got laid off, and I was like, what is going on? Like, but I think like Seattle has taken it very seriously. I think there are not. I mean, like I always say, like I stare at this parking lot across the street from my condo, and today there are only 2 cars in that lot. I mean, every single day that lot has been going down and down and down in cars, and that's just like I think it's a little bit of a testament to like people are really taking it seriously. I mean, everyone is. I would say the majority are walking around with masks on. Again, city, downtown proper, which is the only thing I can tell you about because I don't know what's going on in the suburbs. But everyone's taking it very seriously. I mean,
yeah. And it doesn't look like there's going to be any let up anytime soon, right?
I mean, I'm an idiot. I actually believe it's over on May 4th.
Okay. All right. We'll hold you to that. I'm going to hold you to that. All right. So last thing I want to chat about is obviously as you just indicated, bars, restaurants, everything's shut down. It's same here in Toronto where we are. But the restaurant industry in particular has been really impacted by this. You've been involved in a pretty cool project to help that industry a little bit called Gumwall. Tell us a little bit about that. First of all, for those not from Seattle, what is Gumwall?
Yeah, so Gumwall, there's like I don't know if you call it like a destination or a tourist destination or kind of like a little kitschy thing that's in Pike Place Market, the place where they throw the fish, where people walk by this alley and they stick a piece of gum on it. And I mean, a lot of people obviously say it's gross. I mean, I think it's kind of cool in a weird way. But anyway, nonetheless, to raise money for restaurant and hospitality workers in Seattle, me and a former employee of mine, Patrick Opie, launched this thing called gumwall.co. You can go to the .com too. But anyway, gumwall.co, which is basically a virtual gum wall, which are like little pieces of virtual gum on this wall. And each time you click, you can donate $1 that will go all 100% of proceeds to go to Big Table here in Seattle, which is a charity set up for restaurant and hospitality workers, help with rent payments or whatever it is that they're doing on that side. And it goes live today. This is, let me say the date or should we leave?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So today is April 13th, also my nephew's birthday. But nonetheless, it's April 13th. We go live at noon today, Pacific Standard Time.
Amazing.
So gumwall.co. You can donate $1. You can donate $5. There's 10,000 pieces of gum on that wall. And if it works, maybe it's a model for, some other type of thing in the future. So
yeah, I love it. I mean, I think now is a time when we all need to be thinking about, these types of workers in particular. I know, for our family, we're stuck at home, can't go out anywhere. So there's a lot of Uber Eats and this kind of stuff happening, all over the place. And I think it's had me think harder about when it comes to the tipping aspect of a digital delivery platform and things like that. Just because I know these people are out there, they're risking their lives to stay working and bring food or do whatever. And a lot of these restaurant workers, hotel workers, are really struggling right now. And I think anything we can do to give. So gumwall.co goes live today. On this is April 13th. We're having this interview today, and go check it out. Make a donation, support a worker in need, and support Big Table. Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate you taking some time. Stay safe, stay well to you and your whole family, my friend. And we'll hopefully see you soon at a virtual conference, maybe. All right. Okay. Be well. Take care.
Hey everybody, this is Abriana Lopez with Location Weekly, and I am here with an interview from home with Warren Zenna of Zenna Consulting. He has his own consulting agency and group. And a fun fact about Warren and I, we actually met in a taxi at, I think it was an IAB event not that long ago. So it was kind of serendipitous how we met, and we have stayed in touch ever since. But Warren has been in the location-based marketing industry for a while, has a wealth of knowledge. He's been on both the agency side, on the tech provider side. And so I was excited to have a chance to sit down and talk with him and just kind of, get an idea from an outsider that's taken in everything, from a consulting perspective on what's going on right now. And some opportunities. So first, Warren, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself and give an overview of your background and sort of what you're focused on right now?
Sure. Well, first, thanks for having me. Appreciate you inviting me to this in this strange time that we're at home in our respective. I'm in my kids' room, as you can see. I got some stuffed animals behind me and other weird knickknacks on the wall because there's no room in the house anywhere else. But thanks for having me on. And as you mentioned, yes, I've been in the media ad tech space now since 2008, 7, I guess. And I've been on the buy side, the sell side, and on the delivery side. So I do have kind of a unique perspective from a sales and marketing perspective because I've been in sales and I sell marketing services. So I've become pretty good at both. And that has afforded me a unique position in this. I was at Havas for about 4 years. I oversaw their North American mobile programmatic unit. And I was at Publicis for a while, overseeing theirs as well. It was more like their mobile agency. And then I've had my own consulting firm in and out for the last 8 years or so. And I mostly serve B2B companies like yours, like ad tech companies. I help them solve bigger strategic problems in the marketplace. So, but thanks for having me on. I hope that was helpful.
Very helpful. Thank you. Yeah. So, one thing that we had been talking about that I thought you could provide insight to a lot of our listeners is that, this is a very uncertain time for everybody. And there's a lot of shift, I think, in just the business use cases in general. How do we, balance all of these things? And so, I thought where we could start maybe just is getting your thoughts on what marketers can really focus on right now, right? There's a lot of things that are just being pushed to the back burner, especially sales. But what are your thoughts around that? What are things that marketers can be doing, today, this week, and how they can, start to leverage different things? What's going on in the market? What can they be doing? How can they, have that insight to gain consumers long term and looking at strategic operations?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a weird time, and this is a lot of content on this. I mean, if you go on LinkedIn, it's like everyone's got an opinion about it. So I don't know if what I'm going to say is going to be anything unique, but it'll be what I think. So here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that there's 3 things. You've got companies whom are not in trouble, right? Like it just turns out that what's going on and the way media is being consumed right now is actually benefiting them. Like if you look at streaming companies or content-based companies or online companies that are in certain essential services, as a matter of fact, I think even while I understand retailers have gotten screwed, if they can deliver their products, a lot of them are doing really well. Like it's incredible actually, and if they're able to pivot their businesses in that way, then they're all right. But if on the B2B side, if you're in delivery of marketing services, that's a different animal. So if you're delivering video ads or delivering anything related to online content, there may still be a business for you if you can attach yourself to customers who still have some things to sell. And I suspect that's probably going to maintain some degree of keeping my heads down and keeping the lights on and trying to turn that revenue into something. My opinion is, while I get that, and I think it's important, you got to keep your people served, I see there's an opportunity here. And the opportunity is the two other things. One is an inside job and an outside job. The inside job is, okay, so, and I think everyone, even humans, are doing this right now. Like, boy, there's a lot of things that I'd be doing for myself that I normally wouldn't do for myself, that I could kind of afford to do for myself now because I've got all this time to do it. So you see a lot of people who are doing things like, oh, I'm going to go on this vegan diet, or I'm going to exercise in a certain way. Companies are no different. I mean, if you're a company right now, I know a lot of my company partners are saying, you know what, this is time for us to really do that strategic planning that we never did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember that reorg we talked about? Remember that whole idea we can do that pivot on that entire new strategy? I mean, we got nothing else to do all day. Let's do that. Let's get on Zoom calls and let's figure that out. Let's take the next 6 weeks to have that completed when we're done with this stupid thing, so we have some benefit out of it. And I'm seeing a lot of companies really digging into, it's almost like a unique, there's almost no distractions. So why not focus on the things that we're normally distracted from that we know we should be doing, right? That kind of sharpening the sauce type stuff. And that's the inside job stuff. And I'm seeing smart companies do that. They're going to be way ahead because they're going to go, boy, this is something I never would have done when things are going well. I would have always figured out an excuse to not do this shit. And I'm going to do it now. And I think that's really cool. And then the second part of that is the outside job, which is when the economy was really kicking ass before this. And so what was happening was it was a highly reactive market. Everybody was spending money on immediate returns. I know everyone's buying, everyone's got money, everyone's got income, everyone's shopping. So I'm going to throw my performance dollars out in the marketplace, or I'm going to manage my performance budgets. And I'm going to get all this stuff happening because I got to eat up all this while it's there. And all that other non-organic, spend-based or organic marketing stuff tends to get put by the wayside because it's boom time. So like, when the mushrooms are growing, you want to run out and pick them all up. You don't want to plant anything. So we're doing a lot of work on is helping companies go, okay, much like I said before about that internal strategic marketing, why not invest our time and effort and budgets into organic marketing? It takes 3 to 4 months for really good organic marketing to seed the marketplace anyway, which is why it is that we never do it, because we want the immediate returns. So if I start spending all my money on really good, searchable and discoverable, meaningful thought leadership content, by the time this thing is over, it'll be discovered and I'll be the first one to be thought of when people are looking for things after it's over. So I think that's a really smart thing to do right now. Organic marketing and internal strategy would be wise moves, and it keeps you focused and fresh and not feeling down about yourself. So those are my ways I advise companies to work right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that makes so much sense. And I'm expecting to see a lot of, rebrands, pivots, and, strategy as companies come out of this. And even, I do think that people are creating tons of content, even just on a personal level, right? People are bored. I think about even just, family level, like you've got kids, you're doing TikTok videos with your kids, and that's something that you wouldn't usually do. So, content is definitely being produced. People are getting creative, and they have to. I mean, I think we all have to keep our sanity and maintain that as we're navigating this a little bit.
So those are the things I think companies could focus on now, unless you're lucky enough to be able to still have a market to sell to.
Yeah, this is true. I think there's some like D2C brands that have really been able to, to get, not necessarily like leverage the crisis, but they're getting a push because of it. I was thinking of this like D2C toilet paper brand, And, you know, I had looked at their website the other day, and I know that they were just getting started, and now they're like, we're not taking any more customers right now because we are just, you know, so overnight their growth just exploded. And that's a great, you know, byproduct of all of this horrible stuff that's going on.
Yeah, one thing I saw that's really cool, and I mean, it took a little while for it to happen, but all of a sudden, you start to see in your Instagram feed like these, really cool bespoke face masks, with designs on them, and thematic ones, and kids going, oh, I want that, and it's just filling a marketplace now. You can't, it's hard to get them delivered. We ordered some masks and we couldn't get them, but the point I'm making is that to see how fast the D2C market can respond to things and manufacture stuff really quickly and fill a need is really fascinating. We actually saw an ad for masks come into our feed. It was really well targeted. It was local. It came into our feed, into an article we were reading on mobile. It was an ad for masks, and it was for at a apothecary that's right around down the street. We looked at it, we clicked on it, we opened up the ad, we called them up, they had them, and we bought them. So that was it was a successful. They got a pretty good sale from that. So there are opportunities. It's just those are very niche and they're very opportunistic, but they're not long term.
Right. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is you had written up what I thought was very well formatted communication strategy in times of, crisis right now, and what that looks like from a business perspective. And I just kind of wanted to walk through that a little bit. And you had organized it that the most important thing that you do is by starting internally, right? And you're prioritizing your employees. And I just want to walk through that with you a little bit too.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I what I was saying is that, people are caught flat-footed in a situation. And, the first week in particular, right, there's all this really weird, trepidatious conversation going on in the marketplace, right? It's not that much anymore, honestly. People have kind of gotten over it. But three weeks ago, it was hard to know what to say. So do we keep selling, and how do we sell, and all this communication stuff, and people were making mistakes. And I was getting emails from people. I was like, oh god, don't do this. So I gave some thought to it, and you actually asked me a question, and I was thinking about it. It's really more a matter of looking at your concentric circles of priorities. So the first I would say is, I'm a business owner. The first thing that's most important to me, other than my family, obviously, are my employees. They're my second family. They're the closest to me, and I want to take care of them right now, and I want to over communicate with them. Right? Are they okay? Do they feel like I'm being compassionate? Am I really being transparent with them? What I wouldn't ever want if I run a company is for my employees to think, what's going on? What are they doing? Are we getting paid? Are we going to work? Well, there's a lot of questions that people have, and a really smart, like an emotionally intelligent leader will come out ahead of the curve and have those answers, or maybe put together a communication and just double down on that to the degree that you have the information. And I guess the way I would think of it is like, somebody came to as an employee and they asked one of my employees, for example, hey, how did your company handle the COVID communications? What would I want them to say? So how could I behave in a way that I generate them having that answer, right? Oh, they were clear, they were great. That's the first thing. The second thing is your customers. So you've got people that are doing business with you. And if you provide a business for them that's essential, they're going to have questions. Are you up online? Are you working? Can we count on you? Are you not working anymore? Is there money that we owe you? How about the goods and services that we paid for? Are they going to be, I'd be calling up the critical closest relationships, and similarly having those types of conversations and having a really clear strategy of all the things I need to say to them. And then there's the community itself that you're in. So in this case, let's say the ad tech community. So, what is our role right now in the industry? How do we participate with everybody else? Because we have partners. I may have data partners, or I may have other type of partners. What's the way in which we would work together to communicate collectively so that the industry itself is supporting itself around all the other ways in which it's connected to everything? And then this is the next part would be this prospective customers, which is sales, right? So these are people who I was planning on talking to about my business because I wanted them to buy something from me, but I'm not sure how to do that. Like, should I do that now? Like, should I be doing it? And I would say that if you're going to do that, the first thing to think about is what's most pressing for them as it pertains to their business right now, right? So they're probably not thinking about my product. They're probably thinking about their own employees and their own customers. So how can I, as an ed tech company, tie their concerns to my offering in a way that doesn't seem manipulative or opportunistic, right? And if I can't, then don't. It should just be, hey, either we've taken our tech or we've taken our product and we've created some unique content or some useful tool that may provide you with additional insight, and here it is for free, right? Something like that. But I think that it's got to be very well thought out. Matter of fact, I would have a sounding board for this because I've seen a lot of people do this stuff and they make big mistakes. It just comes across as being really disingenuous and opportunistic.
Mm-hmm.
But there is ways to do it. And then there's, I don't want to get kind of wonky, but there's, humanity. How do you fit into the bigger picture? I mean, some people are out of work, some people are dying, some people are sick. So, maybe there is a strategy once you get through those other things I mentioned, right, where you can start thinking about that stuff. And that might be, you see a lot of companies right now that are lending themselves, their technology to big efforts. Like I just got information from a company called Adelaide, who you probably know those guys. I know them really well. And they participated with another organization to try and create some advertising technology that delivers news to people about how they should take care of themselves. So they're spending their own money and their own distribution, their own data to do that. Right? So they made this decision to participate that way. And there's probably 1,000 ways to do it. But that's a bigger thing. But those are ways that once you get those other things completed, you might think about. So that was the general framework. I hope it wasn't too lengthy.
No, I think it was great. And I think it's a lot to take into consideration as a business leader. And, I think there's a lot of people that are trying to figure out what's the right way to move forward. So I appreciate all the insight and the info you gave us and our listeners today. And I just thank you for your time. And
Sure.
if anybody wants to connect with you in the future, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Sure. Thank you for that. And thanks for having me and giving me the chance to speak. So the best way to reach me would be Warren at zennaconsulting.com. It's ZENNA consulting.com. We just go to my website, zennaconsulting.com. It's pretty simple. And also, I did a pretty decent job of optimizing my online reputation. So you can just Google my name to find me. But thank you. It was really great talking to you. And I hope you guys are doing well and safe. And we'll speak soon.
Thanks, Warren.
All right. Thanks for taking the time to both of our guests this week to join in and share there. And just one little shout out on the DevHub side, Mark and another Seattle entrepreneur, as was mentioned in the interview, have launched a really cool fundraising initiative to support restaurant workers during COVID in the Seattle area. They've created a virtual gum wall. So if you've ever been to the fish market there on the pier, they've got a real gum wall there where people actually go and like stick a piece of gum and all of that. And it's a well-known sort of tourist attraction kind of thing. So they created a virtual version of that to raise money for the restaurant industry. And you can just go to gumwall.co to support that or get involved with it. So thanks to both our guests for sharing this week. All right. Our second story is from our good friends at Burger King. And these guys continue to amaze me in just the creativity and the just the range of things that they've been doing in terms of their advertising this past year. We've talked a lot about how they've used location technology, with the traffic jam Whopper project in Mexico City, the project where they were, sort of geo-conquesting and stealing customers from McDonald's. I mean, they've done a lot there. And in this time of COVID right now, obviously everybody's at home, restaurant orders and traffic are obviously way down. But they're not letting that stop them. And, basically they've launched this ad campaign to try and get people to download the Burger King app. And in particular, they're targeting students. Obviously, you have kids, I have kids, especially older kids, teenagers and high school age kids who are at home. what they would like you to do is do a little bit of academic schoolwork in order to basically get a promo code for a free Whopper. So basically what they do is they pop up like a math equation and tell you to solve that, and the solve is the promo code. Or they, you know, give you a chemistry element that you have to identify, and you know that gives you the promo code. Or complete this famous, you know, literary quote, and you can get the promo code for a free Whopper. So it's a fun thing. It's you know, sort of engaging, especially for, you know, sort of students. It's a super easy way to get a free Whopper. And Fernando Machado, who we've talked about a lot, who's the Chief Marketing Officer, I should point out as well, has just been named CMO of the Year. So, you know, not surprising given, you know, all these campaigns that are going on, and their agency, FCB New York, for creating this. So really, really cool. And the other aspect of it is that, you know, they're doing a lot to as an organization right now with this campaign, as well as supporting the American Nurses Foundation from a charitable perspective during COVID. So there you go. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love all of this. I mean, I feel like, you said it, Burger King just like continues to turn out successful campaigns. They're creative, they're new, they're thoughtful, they engage with consumers, and, you know, and obviously the charitable interaction and supporting the Nurses Foundation is amazing as well, especially during this time. And I like this, you know, I think as parents, like, we are constantly looking for new resources to entertain our children. And, you know, whether it's something educational like YouTube videos, or, you know, something outside of like the regular Zoom calls, or just paperwork, you know, classwork that the kids are doing. And this is just another opportunity for us to find something that's fun and unique and creative, and, you know, allow the kids to have a little bit of fun. You know, I think we're all struggling to try and find new ways to do things, especially when you're in a house, you know, or an apartment or something that doesn't have a lot of space. So I think that they're really just, you know, they mixed all of the great elements together that make a campaign successful, and they do that a lot. So congrats to them and to their CMO for CMO of the Year.
Yeah, and just in terms of numbers too, I should probably share those. So the campaign basically ran for, you know, started last Monday and ran until yesterday. So it was like a week-long campaign, or until they awarded 150,000 coupons for free Whoppers. It was running on Facebook, Instagram, and on the app itself. And the other little tidbit, which was kind of cool, they said if you don't see the connection between, in the article I was reading, between you know, Burger King and sort of studying and math and science and all of that, is Fernando, it was actually a mechanical engineer before he moved into marketing. So there you go. Yeah.
That's interesting.
That is super interesting. So yeah, great campaign. Congrats to them on that. And that's it. Super light show today. Two really cool stories in there. Two really amazing guest interviews. And we just thank you for listening and watching, and you giving us time during this COVID situation that we all have to deal with. And you know, again, if you've got story ideas, if you've got things that we should be covering, if you know people that we should be interviewing as guests, by all means, reach out to us. We're always happy to do that type of stuff. And you know, just stay home, stay safe, and be well. And yeah, just, you know, remember to, you know, keep your mental health in check as well. So all that to say, thank you for listening and watching. It's been episode 461. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.